Hello everyone, this is Intro to DeFi, and in this video we're gonna look at what's happening on Solidly, what the protocol is for, what I think for the futures, etc. If you don't know about Curve's VCRV model and concepts like liquidity mining, I suggest you to look to my previous videos or learn them yourself before watching this. So everyone knows Andre is a beast when it comes to innovation and DeFi, and Solidly is a product of him, and it's created too much hype around the Fantom ecosystem lately. First, we'll look at the idea behind Solidly in this video and its tokenomics and distribution. Then we'll look how some protocols try to take advantage of the distribution of it. And after that, we'll look at current state of the product, and lastly, thoughts on future of the protocol and some others like Soldex and how we can take advantage of the protocol. So recently I wrote a thread about tokenomics, and you can read it to get a grasp of different token models. One of the most important models is VCRV model, where you can stake and choose a lock time. In short, the longer you lock, the more votes you get and the more fees you collect. So it incentivizes locking more and more and takes the supply from circulation, thus drops selling pressure, though the problem defined by Andre is. So let's go to the PowerPoint. Let's assume you are a VCRV holder. So you got a bribe to vote for all USD to Curve pool. Even if that pool doesn't generate any fees, you'll get all the fees generated by the Curve, and also you'll get the bribe. So instead we can incentivize fees, and fees generated by the pools will go to the ones who voted for that pool. So as Andre states, the goal is to align emissions to incentives. The problem with a lot of current AMM designs is that it is easier to incentivize liquidity instead of fees. So if we consider popular AMMs such as Curve or SushiSwap, they incentivize liquidity. However, VCRV and XSushi holders receive fees. If we look at VCRV, as a VCRV holder, you will receive 50% of all fees, regardless of where you vote for emissions to go. So you might vote your emissions onto a pool that generates zero fees for the protocol, but you still reap the reward of fees generated by other more active pools. So the solution for this is we tier lockers receives fees only for pools they voted for. And the other problem defined by Andre is fees are often used for buyback models. While this seems positive for the protocol, this means the fees themselves are correlated to the protocol's token price. This volatility is a blessing if prices go up, but a curse when prices go down. So the solution is to provide fees in an asset not correlated to the primary asset, system asset. By owning a supply, you are taking a bet on future fee growth of the protocol. So another very important thing is, in this protocol, whoever owns the LP tokens earns the fees. So if I understand it right, when you stake your LP tokens for solid emissions, it changes the ownership to the one who incentivizes it. So as a new project, you can incentivize your own liquidity while earning fees from there. And it opens another stream of income for the new projects while incentivizing their liquidity. And another thing about the protocol is, when everyone is staking, there's no new emissions. When no one is staking, emissions are on full speed. So if everyone locks their token, which is impossible, but still, there's no new tokens minted. So it will be exciting to see how it will play out. So now let's look at the last Medium article and see the summary of all. So we are in the Medium article. It's a stable swap like Curve and AMM like Uniswap, where you can choose the better algorithm for your liquidity and where you can bribe or create gauge rewards permissionlessly. And The locks are made as NFTs, and this is made to swap and unlock your buying power via future lending, borrowing protocols, and NFT swaps. And there's no DAO in this protocol. And lastly, the fees are 0.01%. So now we can talk about the distribution. The first V NFTs are distributed to the top 25 protocols based on their TVLs, and the first emissions will be decided by those protocols, and many of them already voted for some pools, so let's look at them. I don't know anything about Radial Finance, to be honest, so we can start with the others. Let's start with Iron Bank and Scream. They're voting for their token plus FTM liquidity to, of course, increase their own liquidity. And if you stake and invest your Scream WFTM pool in Solidly, you will get solid rewards. The fees of protocol will go to Scream protocol as they voted for it, and the aim of Scream or any project is to have more and more liquidity for their tokens. And AMMs like SpookySwap, SpritSwap, and Beethoven X have their own liquidity in their own protocols. So what they are doing is to incentivize Boo, XBoo, Spirit, BinSpirit, Beats, FBeats, liquidities, etc. This is something like rewarding the token holders with solids. The aim is not the liquidity here, as there's infinite liquidity between Boo and XBoo. You can easily swap them in the stake page of SpookySwap. It's all for rewarding the Boo holders with solid tokens, and in theory, Solidly will take some of their market share, so rewarding the holders is probably the best way to go for them. So what I'm personally doing is vesting on Boo XBoo, as I still think Boo is too undervalued and I don't want to miss the lunch, so I vested for now, and I bought some Scream. In the end of the video I can explain why. And you can personally create bribes here. Choose the LP to bribe, choose your bribing asset. You can choose the LP to bribe here, and choose the bribing asset here, and choose your bribing quantity, then create bribe and it's done. Maybe better UI can be deployed here, as some of the tokens, some of the liquid pairs are not here, but other than that it's pretty easy to use. And we can do an example with Boo, XBoo pair, how to vest, etc. So what you need to do is, first, if you are staking Boo, you just need to unstake half of your XBoos. Then, and if you don't have any staked Boo, you can buy Boo from market and stake half of them, then come to Solidly, come to liquidity, add liquidity, and add Boo here, and XBoo is not here, so we need to find it from FTM scan. So let's find it. So we find the Boo mirror world XBoo's contract, then we copy it, then come to Solidly and paste it. And paste it, then choose XBoo, then choose the variable as they voted for variable swap, and just provide liquidity. You can see the Boo per XBoo here. If you don't like the rate, you can always arbitrage through the Solidly. Maybe I can do an example in the next video, but not now. Then after we deposit here, you can just press deposit and stake, then confirm all the MetaMask confirmations, then it's done. So what I'm also looking closely at is Soldex Finance. So what is Soldex Finance? They want to be what Convex is to Curve. They will stake tokens for you. You'll get boosted rewards from Solidly, and they will take a cut and have insane amount of voting power. The branding is incredibly memey. Like when you stake your solid tokens on Soldex, you'll get solid sex, and when you invest LP on Soldex, you get not just solid rewards but also sex rewards, and for every 4.2069 solid you'll get one sex. So they get 10% cut from earned solidly LPs, and 5% will be given to solid sex, solid LPs, and 5% will be distributed to the sex lockers. So you'll make sex work for you. It's comedical gold, but definitely a protocol I am looking to invest in. So you can check their articles on medium.com at solidsex. I suggest you to read it. As I said before, they are trying to become convex of Solidly. Not convex of Curve, but convex of Solidly. So yeah. So that's all for the Solidly for now. I said I bought Scream, and after I explain my reasonings, I'll be finished. So if you don't want to listen it, it's all for the Solidly for now, and you can skip the rest of the video, and thank you for listening. So recently Jack Newald wrote a thread about the Solid reward distribution and provided some data. And the list starts with Iron Bank, but it shows that its market cap is $3 million. It may seem incredible buying opportunity for Iron Bank, but the problem is Iron Bank team is holding almost 99% of the tokens on multi-sig, and they didn't distribute them to cream holders, and fully diluted valuation of it is $1.14 billion. So next on the list is Morpheus Swap, but if I would invest in an I would invest in Spooky. VDAO and 0xDAO is the same, and they're just here for the V NFT distribution. So 100 Finance doesn't have as much TVL as other lending protocols such as Geist and Scream. And I like Taro very, very much, but I think Stream is the biggest opportunistic buy out here. The reasoning of mine is they are the first native lending borrowing protocol on Fantom. They have 1.5 billion TVL, and their market cap to TVL ratio is 0.002, so it's very low. And even fully diluted valuation is 0.08, so they currently are giving 140% APR to Scream LPs, and this is the only downside for them. But after the Solid launches, they can vote for FTM Scream liquidity mining, and if that pool has good enough liquidity, they can stop the emissions for LP rewards, or at least make them lower. So for comparison, like Aave has a 0.15 market cap to TVL ratio and 0.2 fully diluted valuation to TVL ratio, so you can compare them. And Solid LPs creates two great things for Scream. First is liquidity miners will try to buy Scream because of heavy Solid rewards. They will probably try to farm with it, so it creates buying pressure. Second is because Scream will need no incentivization for their own LPs, the rewards will drop, it drops the selling pressure, so it also results in higher price. For these reasons and hugely undervaluation of the token, I bought some Scream, but this is not a financial advice, I'm just trying to explain what I'm doing and my reasonings, and always do your own research before aping in. So yeah, this is Solidly. This is Atakan, or Intro to DeFi as you know, and thank you for listening and being here, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and see you in the next video. Goodbye.